everyone. So welcome back to this machine learning bootcamp. Now we will be continuing with our next topics, which we will be diving deep into pandas and NumPy. The left out topics from the introduction, like strings and all of those, you can watch tutorials and you can cover them. These are just simple topics. Regardless if you face any like barriers or anything that you have concern, or if you face any queries or questions, feel free to ask in the comments as well. So, if you keep on practicing from those topics and you have learned something about the documentation, now we are good to go. Like for the next topics, we'll be technically starting with the basics of machine learning and like how Python manages to do that. So, it's the initial step in that with to start with the NumPy and Pandas. So, let's start with that. Okay, so to start with NumPy. Let's just give me a brief introduction. This is the documentation you can learn about. Let me just paste the link. Um, yeah, you can get that link. This is the documentation, official documentation from NumPy. You can go through there, or you can learn from Kaggle. Actually, they have pandas. You can find NumPy, I guess, in introduction in maybe Python as well. So yeah, that's what's NumPy. It's just like Python libraries for arrays, like it manages your array, your dimension on the whole, like insertion of the array, multidimensional arrays, sorting of them, finding the maximum, addition, deletion, like over all the arrays. So while you'll be moving forward with the vectors or like the vector calculation, matrix multiplications, later on with machine learning or with AI, NumPy acts as some sort of basics for them as well. So it's just a requirement to be fundamentally strong so that you don't face any problems while you will be dealing with multiple functionalities. Like all machine learning libraries have their own predefined functions as well. So it becomes a lot of confusing as we progress later on. So it's advisable, like from the start which you are progressing, you have to be clear with what are the functions there are, and how to implement them, how to use them. So if the new comes up, you can learn them accordingly. But yeah, you don't get confused like this function is actually or what from where this function is coming. So to start with NumPy, all you have to do is what is an array is simple, like two-dimensional array, single-dimensional array. You must have it. So for those who don't know, array acts as a listable, what I have explained, and multidimensional is just matrix, what you have learned in class 12. Matrix. So array can be of 3D, 4-dimensional as well, 5-dimensional. That comes in really helpful while dealing with vectors and like building your complete transformers or something like that, like attention, something like that. We call that, and from there we go on to the all the complex vector calculations. So array fundamentals. This is the basic command. You take a list, um, import numpy as np, what you do basically, and from there you put that list into the array. So what is an array of all those? And you can just access them simply like array zeroth index. Zero index is what the first element, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you go negative, -1, -2, till -6. That's how you progress. Slicing, yeah, same functionalities as the list, like starting from 1 till 3. 3 minus 1 means 0. So 0, 1, 2. 0, 1, 2. That's where you get it. So yeah, you can transform into B as well. Like you can reassign. Okay, now come with two-dimensional. So this is one row. Look carefully at the bracket. So this bracket and this bracket is the starting and closing, and each list um, contributes to a specific like row. This row, this row, this row. So you get a 2D array. And if you insert one more bracket, so that becomes one dimension of 3D and like faces of the cube. So that might become the front top side. So you can add as many as you want in 3D as well. So and yeah, you access them by in 2D by this first row, second, third column. In most of the different languages, it's more like A1 bracket close and then bracket 3. But yeah, it changes. So okay, ndim means number of dimensions. Currently two. A dot shape 3 row 4 columns. So that will reshape your whole um, array. And length of A dot shape means basically like how much dimensions are there, that much shape variables will you define, like that row, column, and its z coordinates. So xy 2 dimensions. If you have z dimensions as well, comma, how many like faces you want. So that goes 5, 6, and so on. Total number of elements, dot size, dot length, whatever. Here we use size in arrays. Mat dot product. Okay. A dot shape is means basically means 3 into 4 12, and a dot size is 12 elements are there. So yeah, true. Homogeneous, yeah, basically in arrays we tend to use the similar kind of elements only, like a dot dtype in 64. If you insert any other element into that, it will create an object. 64 means 64 bits. The maximum value will be 214748364 something like that. How to create a basic array? Um, like np dot zeros. So it will create an array of zeros of length 2 filled with zeros, filled with ones, np dot 1, or even an empty array, np dot empty 2. It will insert some random values, I guess, and random, and depends on the state of the memory. We use, yes, empty, because if we are checking out something to match, you might have a scenario to match with 0, but yeah, empty will create an array of float, and yeah, it doesn't have anything like that. Array of range 4, so it will start with 0 till 4 minus 1 3. um Special phase starting np, that's this basically how range function works. Remove all of that and you get a range, and you insert that into the array. That's a simple version of that. Now moving forward, linspace. Okay, so okay, linspace is basically something like that. You define the starting point and the ending point. You're defining, I want array. My starting element should be 0. My ending element should be 15, and I want to insert 7 elements between those. So all those 7 elements have the exact same like difference between all of them. So it's very helpful in certain scenarios when you have to calculate like how much the point is deviating from where it should be, from like linear growth. So that's comes in handy while you're dealing with data at the product level, like when you're doing for the some like sort of sales, what happens, and things like that. Now coming to the next section. So now comes with the adding part. So okay, you have an array. So how you're going to sort that array? It's a predefined function, np.sort and arr. So it's typical, you don't have to learn merge sort like or different kinds of sorting algorithms. But if you don't know them, it's better to do a quick search. So okay, quick sort. So yeah, all all of the libraries, all of the functions in Java, Python, or other languages as well, most of them use quicksort. So it is a sorting algorithm where you choose a pivot element, and all the elements in the array, the higher elements goes to the right side, and the lower elements, then the pivot element goes to the left side. So technically that element is at its correct location, and then we sort the higher right part and the left part. Either this or merge sort. The worst time complexity is big of and log n, so that's why we use those. And after that, you can sort them, you can concat them, like merge them with what to do with the string as well. Um, yes. Axis 0. So basically, row wise, you insert a new row in that. How do you know the shape? Um, ndim will tell you the number of dimensions. Size will tell you the number of elements. So by shape, it's like you have three dimensions. So okay, yes, that's still one more variable is required. Dot shape. Okay, yeah. If you don't define the shape, you just put right, it will give you the shape of that in the dimensions. So it's like three set of two rows and four columns. So Z columns comes here as well. Can you reshape? Of course, you can reshape by that. How to convert a 1D array into a 2D array? You just do reshape. It's that simple. You can add a new axis, but it's just the right command is to do reshape into how many rows and columns you wanted. A greater than 5, print a 5. Okay, yeah, you are defining a condition here, and based on that condition, you're just printing the selecting the elements from there. You can work with the logical operators as well, non-zero. That's a important segment. Like most of the tools do that by itself in data like Power BI. You just have remove the zeros, but it's very like you should know how it do in the backend. So any non-zero command will take big of n complexity because it will have to iterate through the whole rows and columns, and from that it will have to choose the elements having zero and then remove. Dot np array, it's the simple commands, basic array operations. Okay, yeah. So you can add the array, you can yeah do all the bottom operations, add all the elements. You don't have to iterate. You just have to calculate the a dot sum. The time complexity will be, of course, big of n. Uh, okay. Now, a question might arise in your head, like if I'm dealing with all the functionalities, why do I keep telling you the time complexities? So think of this as a trade-off. Like whatever you decide to build for the production level, you have to keep in mind two things: the time taken by the query and the cost while hosting in the servers as well. So the cost part is not as a headache. We are not building a model. Now comes the time part. So you want your queries, you want the model to act on your queries and whatever operation you want to do, you wanted to have it in the most optimized way so that you are getting the required answer in the minimum amount of time, not the brute force method. So that's why it's necessary to consider the time complexities of whatever approach you are thinking of solving a problem. And your goal is to be like optimize as much as you can. Broadcasting, yes, like okay, multiplying uh, max, min, sum, these are the simple operations. Creating matrix are just two dimensions data, and yeah, you can go along and check all those like check on the functionalities, try to do some random programming operations as well. And as you move ahead from NumPy tutorials, fundamentals for MATLAB users, just don't care, just get along with the like the basic functionalities, whatever are required. Transforming, transposing, and reshaping as a okay. What's the difference between transpose and reshape? Okay, transpose is just simple like matrix operations. Reshape is like how we want to transpose. It's just in the simple way. How to reverse flip? Okay, that comes in very handy. And flatten, we will okay, flatten converting into 2D array. uh, sorry, converting into 1D array or multi-dimensional array, and then you create a new one, of course. So yeah, that's just some important you don't find in the everyday use like flatten and gravel. So you have to keep them in mind as well. You can uh, there's always so much to learn while you refer to the documentation. Yeah, so that's not like sort of explanation for the numpys. It's just basically take you through what all the functionalities it offers, how you can use them, how you can use NumPy for the machine learning course as well. So just try to go there, install the pandas, write some lines of code, think of how NumPy works, do driving yourself, and try out the various features of this. Refer to the documentation, and yeah, it's super simple. NumPy and Pandas, like the basic starting of them. So that's the end of NumPy, and now we'll be moving forward towards the Pandas. Now we'll come to the Pandas section. It's super simple. You can go to the website Kaggle, and from there you can just learn about it. The whole documentation is there. They have the sample exercise, and yeah, you will be good enough for um not from here. Um, so we are here basically NumPy Pandas, and from them we'll be continuing with Matplotlib, which I guess we'll be covering in the next. Yeah, you can get started with the documentation, how to learn install, but yeah, for like learning purpose, for practicing as well, it's great. You just to prepare, and yeah, starting from here, import pandas. You just have a complete. Um, Let me take you through that. Okay, and we you go to the exercise as well. There's a complete notebook at your hands just to practice, create cells, and doing everything. Okay, so yeah, pandas data frame. What that is, basically you can say a document type, a database, something. It creates and manages a complete database. So, okay, that's a key, and these are some values for Bob, those for shoot, those. Yes, those value. So it will insert column wise, product A, product B, that will be your indexes. So that's how it's basically a table, like you're managing Excel here completely. Series, ed.series, index, name. So it's completely simple as you visualize, as you go through with me till we complete all the 7 sections. They're super simple, super easy as you view. But what requires, like you have to practice constantly. You will have to like take into consideration what all things you have to apply, what all the functions are there, like period or series. That what does index do? So randomly while coding, there might be scenarios like you forgot that simple thing, how index work, what type of brackets are there, what to have to use in terms of name, what does name do. So it's very useful, like you have some hands-on practices before you move towards the next stage as well. With pandas, you can read the CSV files as well. So that just basically insert the whole CSV file here. You get the shape, number of rows, number of columns. Head basically returns the top 5 elements, and you get the complete idea. Um, Index column 0 dot head. Yeah. Just, okay. So without index column, it gives a serial number to unnamed column. But yeah, index 0 basically means this column is for numbering. Simple. We are starting with the first one. Now moving towards the second native accessors like a data frame which consists of all those dot country. So it will return an array basically. Okay, it will not return an array. It will return a data frame with of course your zeroth index and whatever you got. That's the same. They both function similarly, but we prefer to use them. Okay, if you have a escape character like spacebar, the dot operator will not work at zero. So this particular column at zero index you will get a key. So I lock zero basically the zero throw completely. Zero column, this column. Okay, top three, starting, ending, and basically location. So basically I lock is based on this what do we call them? Columns, exactly. So I log 0, 1, 2. Yeah, it's the same as 0, column 3, last 5. And yeah, you can manipulate the index as well, dot set index title. So the 0th row will be that will completely be removed exactly like whatever the title will be, that will be the index row. And return the where country is Italy, and you get something like that. Simple. You just like do all the queries that you can do in the Excel here as well. So it will return like it will give you everything based on your queries and yeah, or that just a simple and or queries. Italy or France is in. So that just the name suggests is if they belong to the typical array or not. And okay, so reviews critic is everyone. So if critic is everyone, we'll find that we have particularly setting for everyone. Yeah, so now coming on to the next one as well. Uh, Basically, it's the third step. So if you have a simple database, points dot describe. Okay, so remove dot describe. The points is basically a section. Like suppose each has a score. So describe what it will tell you. It will tell you all the mathematical computations from that particular column. The mean, the max, the 70 upper quartile, lower quartile, and everything related. Uh, Same goes for that as well. But for a string, what it will tell you the total number of columns, total type of unique values. There will be there are 90 number of values. The most number of repeated time is this, and the number of most repeated time is this. Test name dot unique, all the unique values from that. Test name dot value counts for each. Okay, for each unique value, how much occurrence that have. Uh, Review points mean is equals to review dot points dot mean. Okay, dot map a lambda function p minus review points mean. And what is the p? Okay, we don't know p, but okay. So yeah, there's certain mapping where we have to map the points by some type of p and like p minus basically review points from that. Mm. Okay, if I'm getting correctly, yeah, sure. The P stands for each value in the points minus the mean. Basically, you are calculating the variance standard deviation here. So you can keep in mind like this is for the standard deviation lambda p for each p value in points minus points dot mean. Points minus points mean, yeah, is the same function. Head of one only, yes. Review country plus review regions. Okay, if you want country plus region for some values. So, uh, just like summing up what we can do from the pandas is a way more thing. It's just like Excel, your certain sort of database at your hands, ready. Like read the CSV files. Basically, all the machine learning models and AI will be working a lot on the CSV files. So reading the CSV files, data, working on the models as well, and with models as well, like um, training training with the AI, whatever you have to you will be doing in the CSV files, and like for that the pandas comes in handy. You can like do all kinds of operations possible in the database, like just by single command, a function. Uh, you can create your own custom functions as well, and like yeah, you can get whatever insight you want from the data. So at the end, what you want your data to be normalized between 0 and 1, and your data to be perfect, like without any missing values, all have the similar kind of values, which will pass into the model. Yes, apply lambda function in group by binary tf.title.dialog 0. So basically, it's applying some function in the binary where we are not correctly mapping, we are grouping by the binary at particular locations only. Country provinces by binds, country price aggregated minimum length. So each country uses sprite text in the vines. The um, yeah, description dot aggregate of length. We are basically sorting the values. Yeah, data type and missing values. This is some of the important thing. Data type, you have to keep that in mind. Like most of the data we get initially at the time of practice is corrupted or it's not in the correct form. So there we use the values like we want to organize our data into the specific types. So that why we use that. You can convert and if it's null, you can remove that. Fill the null values by unknown for string. Replace. Okay, that's just some of the values. Renaming and combining, it's just one of the initial steps, like rename columns, like your data to be production ready, so that when someone is getting insights from your data, they don't have to like search for various a lot of things as well. Um, I should get the clear understanding what this column is dedicated for just by the name of the column. That is the requirement of the data as well. If you want to prepare the data, and it's kind of the best practices as well, so that when someone touches your code, they don't have to like go through a whole set of understanding, okay, what this column does, why do we use it in that particular section. So we maintain those practices as well. Combining certain columns, combining the data sets, of course, yeah, that's just all. Like you can get a lot of more things if you read the documentation, some of the things I might not tell you out there, but the most basic practice is to like understand the function. Just simply out there, you can go and read them. And what do? You open the notebook, start typing, start coding out. There are the sample exercises, like start applying here. Don't cheat while you're learning. Like don't use AI while you're learning. Use AI for understanding the things better. But while doing exercises, try to do them as your own. So your understanding grows uh, as time goes by. Once you're all good with that, like while building models, you can use AI, of course, to speed up the processes. But yeah, there you will be knowing what you have to do. But to get that level of understanding, start practicing on your own. You just simply start server and all the cells. It's super easy. You can get the data sets. You can use some practice models as well. If you keep on continue learning. So we will be keeping it short, right? For here. Then we'll continue with matplotlib and then databases, data formulas, CSV, um, and yeah, then we'll do machine learning as well, like after data cleaning and all of those things. So yeah, pre-processing is very important. Then static learn how do you fine tune the model as well, and we'll be covering all the later aspects. So keep practicing. Uh, the most important thing is practice as much as you can. Solve as many exercises as you can. Take part in practice sorry, contest as well, and like yeah, be in that iteration so that it won't take much. So yeah, that's all for now. And the more just summarize like what we have done. We have done just NumPy and Pandas. I have made out a separate video, a shorter one for those two only because these two are the building blocks of what all the concepts we are doing in the machine learning, except for the Python as well. So if you are practicing regularly, you have now understood the syntax. Now you'll be going forward with the libraries. And once you clear the basic functionalities of the libraries, you are good to go with the what do we say, practicing on the data sets and like fine-tuning your skills as the time goes on and on. So it will not be a long process at all, but yeah, keep practicing until you're confident like you can write that line of code without looking at Google or like ASI. It's not that difficult, but yeah, it requires some sort of practices and so on. So we'll come up with the next video. So we'll coming Lab and um, or what we have seen, um, like data handling, of course. So from MongoDB or SQL, and yeah, most preferably we'll be using MongoDB, if not CSV file. That is in the data source. Yeah, we'll be using MongoDB. Um, yeah, sure. So that's all for now, and till then keep learning. If you have any queries or questions like how do you want to practice, how do you want to learn, and like how we can achieve, if you have any queries related to what is taught today, any functionalities you are not understanding, um, yeah, you can post it in the comments. We can discuss them in detail in the next video section, and I will, and yeah, we can clear up the queries as well. So by the time, keep learning, keep practicing, and yeah, see you in the next section. Take care. Bye bye. Good night.